This week on the recruitment industry's most informative podcast, we had James Whitelock from Thinking Circles. And as I'm sat here with Andy, after we've just recorded the pod, I thought you could do this week's intro.
Oh, really?
Yeah. What did you think of the episode with James?
Oh, mate, you can't catch me off guard like that. Yeah,
What?
It was really good. What did we speak about? We spoke about everything from James's interest in weightlifting, in like Comic-Con, in, God, you're testing my memory now, what he's doing with his tattoos, his all the stuff he does with marketing in the recruitment space. What it's been like with his business through COVID and stuff like that. Yeah. It was really fun. We laughed. We love to laugh. That's a bit of my overview.
Nailed it. I think the only thing I would say is the journey of his art thing, where he started in Sunderland and then he worked for the geezer that did the Angel of the North. Can't think of what that is. Should have been more prepped. It's a good episode anyway. I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely. And this sums me up, doesn't it? We also touched again on the Recruitment Comic Club.
Ah, nice. And his podcast.
Yes. Enjoy.
Yeah, make yourself comfortable. Make yourself at home.
Yeah, so I used to I'm from Luton, and then I've worked in Scotland, so I know this area.
Okay.
But I was pleased that I didn't get any of that.
It's just down the road.
I've driven around it before.
Yeah.
The Magic Roundabout, but
It's just down. It's literally just. It's just down the road. Yeah. It's like what? It's a collection of roundabouts. So you've got like the one big one in the middle, and then you've got all the little ones around the outside.
You go round the big one the wrong way, don't you?
You can do.
Yeah. Come into the little one and then go round and then come.
Yeah.
It's
But the kids are off now. And did you not know that?
Yeah. Well, I don't have kids, so
you don't have kids, but surely you know.
I kind of see that the roads are a bit quieter.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say to you in terms of getting down here today. I was like, you've picked a good day for it because the roads are quiet. But Luton, I didn't know that about you.
Yeah.
Born and brought.
And again, you said it correctly. You dropped the T.
Luton.
You're right. That's exactly how it's meant to be. But. So I'm from Luton,
right? Okay.
Yeah, but my mum beat the accent out of me basically when I was when I was a young kid. Hence why I've got a bit of a weird accent. I think people do think I've got a bit of a kind of either South African or Australian accent,
or
something. And it's simply because mum didn't want me to speak like this, innit? Like that. Because my mum's from my mum's a Cockney, right? She's
Whereabouts?
A genuine proper Cockney. Well. It's kind of in and around Enfield, kind of that kind of area is where she ended up. And my dad was from Luton, but my dad was like as my dad's family were like the original Lutonians, and the original Lutonian accent is like this kind of farmer's accent.
Is it?
It's a bit like that,
Is it?
The original kind of like So older generations of my family
had West Country vibes.
Had this really weird accent. And when I was growing up, that kind of more kind of Cockney kind of accent was kind of starting to
bleed in,
and so mum was like, you're gonna speak the Queen's English, so I got pulled up on it. And when I bump into people who are from Luton all the time, it's like, what's happened? You don't sound like you're from Luton.
So you still
I say T because I put a T in it as opposed to Luton.
Luton.
Oh yeah, because I definitely wouldn't have placed you as Luton with accent, but I wouldn't have said South African. But
I think I've just got this kind of weird nondescript accent. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's this kind of it's a generic Southern accent. Like if you're an American actor, right, you put on generic Southern accent, right? When you're an actor. It could be that. But I've had I once had someone pull up outside our house, and it's strange because you were saying about someone parking in those spots, right?
Yeah.
Where I have someone like that, and I get a bit of a grumpy old man kind of vibe when someone was parked.
Where you live,
where I live right now,
in this plant.
And we've kind of got this bit of kind of like parking space outside, which is all private land. But some guy parked in it, and I went out and said, "Listen, mate, you can't park there. That's actually one of the neighbours." And he kicked off. He was like, "I can park wherever the bloody well I want." Blah 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 blah.
Is this in Luton or in Silverstone?
This was in Toaster actually. So
where's that?
That's next to Silverstone. So that's
okay.
where I live now. But it's easy to tell people I live in Silverstone.
Silverstone.
Instead of saying
Toaster, did you say?
Great
Toaster.
name, yeah.
I'll come back to that.
I'm excited for that.
But yeah, this guy parked up and he was going, yeah, I can park wherever the fuck I want, blah, 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 blah. And I goes, you can't actually. It is all private land around here. And there's someone's parking space. Anyway, he goes giving it all of this. And then he just kind of, before he left and he actually got in the car, he goes, you fucking foreigners. To me. And I was like, mate, where do you think I'm from? Where am I meant to be from?
Did he answer?
Like, no, he just got in his car and
intrigued.
yeah. He goes, you fucking foreigners, you're all the same. And it's like, I don't.
He didn't know what to say.
What? Yeah.
So your mum technically failed getting you to speak the Queen's English then, if that was her aim.
Whatever I'm meant to be from, I'm not sure. Yeah, exactly.
In that regard.
Yeah.
So is it a nice area then?
It's not bad. It's like a little market town,
Right.
kind of toaster.
Okay.
Yeah. It's very conservative, though. It's very Middle England, and very
okay.
okay. Which is a bit of a culture shock because being from Luton, incredibly multicultural, and that's kind of how I grew up.
Yeah.
And when I moved further up that way, I lived in a place called Wolverton, which is just on the outskirts of Milton Keynes.
Okay.
And that's very multicultural as well.
Right.
And I've always kind of dig that vibe. You know what I mean? There's kind of halal kind of supermarkets. There's kind of all these different types of restaurant. I started to move a bit further north into Middle England, and it all got very conservative very quickly.
It's funny that, isn't it?
It is.
'Cause it's not far. You're not.
No,
you're
but
an hour away from us.
Kind of this cultural divide just kind of suddenly opened up.
Do you think that's because it's a small village, though?
I think there is a bit of that. Right.
Okay.
I probably
Hot Fuzz. I'm thinking Hot Fuzz vibes.
It is a bit like that. Yeah.
There's
kind of like summer fates and the church fete and all that kind of stuff, right? You know what I mean? And it's that kind of vibe, and it is very conservative. Our MP used to be like Andrea Leadsom, who was kind of like very senior in the Conservative Party and things like that.
Right.
Not that we're getting political. I didn't vote for it, right? It wasn't right. Yeah, and it's nice. It's cute. It's it's a nice little high street, and that kind of vibe. It's all surrounded by fields, and there's farmers everywhere and things like that kind of thing.
Nice.
And some half decent pubs. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what age? When did you start moving out that way? How long were you in Luton for before you?
Yeah. So I went off to university. So
Where'd you go?
I went to Sunderland.
Oh, did you?
I know. I did. I thought that Luton wasn't bad enough. I thought I'd go somewhere even worse. I thought I was going to go, basically. So I went to Sunderland and studied fine art. So I got a BA honours in fine art.
Yeah.
So printmaking, painting, and sculpture. I kind of started. Right. Yeah. And I tried.
So are you decent then? Can you whip up a?
What's decent? Are you talking about? Can I make something? Draw something like it's photorealistic? Is that kind of?
Well, I guess my bar. I'm
I think
How would you describe my arts and crafts ability?
Luke did had to do some origami. You did some origami thing at the start of the year, didn't you?
Yeah, I did it. I did this recently.
You had to make a little origami cat, which is I think.
What do you mean you had to? What was that?
Was it a birthday present for you or something?
Yeah, someone bought me a birthday present, which was origami cats.
Right.
I'll see if I can get.
Are you into cats?
You keep talking.
And I feel like
I do like.
Did it have an age limit on it?
I didn't have
3 or above.
It didn't
it
have
wouldn't
an
surprise me if it was
didn't
like
have an age limit on it. What's it called?
8 or above.
Yeah.
And
Which simply because of the paper cuts, I guess.
Yes.
You could see.
Yeah.
You could see what it was supposed to look like, and then the end result.
So this is what it was supposed to look like. See that, like the origami cat.
Yeah. I can see that.
And you will see. It's not very good podding, but you'll see in a second.
Okay.
You'd have to flip it over.
Yeah.
That was
Jesus. It does look like you just kind of screwed up a piece of paper, right?
I
was quite just happened to have a cat's face on it.
I would say that sums up Luke's.
That was my
skills.
first attempt, yeah. So you're probably a lot better than, I assume you'd back yourself to be a bit...
I back myself to be a little bit better than that.
Do you have a certain type of, is this a weird question, but do you have a certain type of art that you do? Is there
when I was doing it properly at university, and I was taking it very seriously at that point, the kind of work I did was... this is really kind of fancy and kind of up my own arse, right? You know what I mean? But it was installational art. So it was kind of like time-based. So it was only there for a little while. It's a bit like graffiti almost.
Right. Okay.
So...
I've never heard of that before, installation art.
So installation art is where it's just kind of installed and then you paint over it, basically. It's there for a little bit of time.
Okay.
It's built for a specific space,
yeah,
right? That kind of thing. So I did a lot of... so my final kind of like degree... kind of piece was little bits of these artworks all around the university campus.
Nice.
And they were kind of up in corners and down in things like that. And I gave people a map and you had to go around and find them all. And they were a little bit like
Banksy?
this. They were a little bit like this. Oh, if I was, I couldn't tell you anyway, right? I wouldn't be allowed to tell you. I wouldn't be allowed to say.
I'm gonna put that as the title. We've had Banksy on the pod.
But it was kind of like this. So the stuff I've got here, right? That's the first tattoo I had. It was a bit like these circles.
Have you designed your sleeve? Have you? Yeah,
I've done all of that. Yeah. So it was a bit like that.
I was going to ask you about your sleeve as well, because I've never spotted it on you before. Do you usually wear long sleeves?
Well, if you see me on camera, you don't really see my arms and stuff like that, do you? Right? It's only
James is all head.
Yeah, that's all there is. It's usually a head with a big microphone sticking over here.
Yeah. Oh, it's James.
It is. That's it. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Because I've met you. Like, were you at the last team event and stuff? And I didn't pick up on it then.
No.
You must have had a t-shirt on. Yeah.
Well,
No. Does it mean? Is this where you're going to tell us this?
So I designed it all myself, and there's loads of stuff. Cool. There's stuff in there that's kind of representative of the stuff that I'm into. I'm a massive nerd and kind of that kind of thing. So there's stuff on there around comic books and superheroes and science and space and movies and all kinds of other stuff. All
is that
kind
Batman
of
on your shoulder?
It is Batman there. It's got the whole of the Justice League.
Okay.
Right? So you've got Flash and Superman and Wonder Woman and Green Lantern and Aquaman and all out there.
Yeah.
And then you've got like the Moonlander here and other bits and pieces that are all kind of kicking around in here. Yeah. So, yeah.
Do you know what it reminds me of? And I don't know if this is going to. I hope this doesn't come across.
Are you going to massively offend me?
Is this one of those scenarios where think before you speak?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, I feel like I've already committed.
Yeah, come on.
I think Big Bang Theory for some reason.
I think that's because of this, that kind of stuff around there.
Sciencey bit.
And the Justice League stuff.
Yeah. And kind of like the atom, right?
Yeah.
And things like that.
I'm thinking when I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, okay, so that
wasn't.
Yeah,
no, you're fine. Yeah,
no, you're fine. You're right. You're fine.
I've said worse.
You're not. You've not offended me. Yeah.
Because when you were explaining it then, because they dress up as Justice League, don't they, and they do stuff like that.
So. I used to collect comic books when I was a kid, and and I've kind of that's where it kind of came from, right? So and I've followed all that. I've still got tons. I've got thousands of comics just sitting at home. Yeah.
Thousands? Would you actually say thousands?
I'd probably say in the thousands.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where are they? Just in the.
They're actually so interesting. When you see me on camera, I've got the microphone here.
Yeah.
There's a couple of posters behind me.
Yeah.
But that's an entire like man cave. So there's kind of there's shelves with Lego and stuff up there, and then there's behind me over there. There's racks and racks of comics in big boxes, basically like this. Yeah.
Do you ever read them, or are they just collectibles?
I did read them.
Right,
yeah,
okay.
I haven't been back and read them. But I've always been quite a natural collector. Even as a kid, I kind of looked after stuff. So some of the comics I've got are literally from when I was a kid, and even then I would kind of like prise them open just like that, just to read them. Yeah, because I don't know, for whatever reason I kind of thought that because I've got quite a few number ones and things like that from the 80s, like X-Men number ones and things like that.
Right,
and I think I've got an Infinity Gauntlet kind of comic, from where the movies are all kind of
learn about that
number one. Yeah,
Andy.
Andy Dunn to explain the Infinity Gauntlet.
All that kind of stuff. So I've got loads of that kind of stuff.
Have you ever been to Comic-Con?
What, the ones in America or the ones in London?
Yeah,
I've been to the ones in London. I've never dressed up though. If that's the next question.
What would be your character?
I've never. What would I be? I don't know. Probably something from Star Wars because it's quite easy.
Oh right, yeah.
So I haven't dressed up for that. I have dressed up though. Did you know Secret Cinema?
Yeah.
So
I've never been.
Your cousin went.
Holly goes. My dad went. My dad had a thing with Secret Cinema for a while.
So I dressed up to go to one. I've been a couple of those. I did a Blade Runner one and kind of dressed up a bit like
that was supposed to be really good. That
it was insane.
They had it raining indoors, right?
It was insane. Yeah, it was absolutely insane. Yeah, it was nuts.
Yeah,
and then we did a James Bond one, and we all dressed up in tuxes. So
that's easy. That's easy.
And then we did the last one we did was Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh,
so we had to kind of have something a bit more kind of sci-fi, kind of like that.
Yeah,
so
nice.
But
and they have actors in there, right? So like,
I mean, it's like an immersive experience, right? Yeah, right. So you get kind of assigned a task, like a mission, and you have to go try and kind of do all that kind of stuff.
Really?
And it doesn't matter if you do it or not. You literally just come back. You can just kind of walk into all these different. So the Bond one was like, it was meant to be for Casino Royale. So the part of the whole setup is there was something in Venice, and there was like a little Venice being built.
That's so
there was
cool.
something that was kind of like Q's kind of like workshop.
There
was a big casino. There was other bits, all these kind of bits from the movie, and you could kind of wander in, and there was actors in there doing their thing. And sometimes you didn't even know if they were actors, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes even the barmen who were in there were actors as well.
Wow.
And they would give you a mission or something like that,
Yeah,
just because you went up and just bought a drink, and then suddenly say, oh, you should really go talk to this guy over here or something like that. You know,
It's
And
like,
do that. Yeah,
right,
it's
okay.
very cool.
It was it's meticulously planned out. Yeah.
That's awesome. Because is this true? Or I might have made this. This might be like fake news. But they put you in a tunnel somewhere, and you have to walk for ages. My brother explained it to me as in like you didn't know the location for the one that he went to because you started. It was like here you go, and then they went under and they went through this tunnel and they walked for ages.
I mean, there is like
And
a
then you
kind
were
of
spat
like an
out.
airlock before you go in, where it kind of you don't know what you're kind of ending up into, right? You
Yeah.
kind of start somewhere. Like as if like the beginning of the story, you know what I mean? And you go in bits. So, I mean, I haven't been to them all.
Right.
I missed the Star Wars one. There was an Empire Strikes Back one, which they did, which apparently was brilliant. And it had an entire X-Wing basically drop from the ceiling at the end of the end of the thing, stuff like that, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I'd like to have done that one.
So once you've done all like the missions and the immersive part, is it then you just sit and watch the film?
At the end, so for about 2 hours, there's kind of like there's the mission bit, right?
Yep.
Where you're kind of interacting, but you can go something to eat, you can go and drink, and
You're just floating around, basically.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, basically, you don't even have to do any of the missions, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't really
You're just
matter.
taking it in.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that.
And then they do show the kind of movie, and then they kind of have some. There might be something going on screen, and then there might be some actors run on who kind of like almost something what's going on off screen. There might be something over there. I'll be honest, we don't tend to hang around for the movie at the end. We tend to go at that point.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I've probably seen the movie loads and loads of times anyway. There's a reason.
Right.
Yeah. So
you literally just go for the like the immersive bit beforehand.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I actually invested in them. I actually
Really?
I bought shares in Secret Cinema. But it's one of my many investments that's gone tits up, basically.
I've not heard of it for a while. Was it? I was going to say that.
They've got.
There was a period where I heard people talk about it all the time.
Yeah, well, I think once it was bought, they went through a real kind of. They really didn't know what to do with it. I think some kind of like investment company or VC bought it.
Right.
Who were really probably the wrong people to buy it in the end.
Right, okay.
And part of that was like a crowdfunding thing. And prior to that, there was a crowdfunding thing to raise. And I went in on that. But when it was bought by the VCs, it just kind of flatlined, basically. And has flatlined pretty much ever since. They've only got...
That's a shame.
I think they've got Greece running at the minute. And I keep getting offers to I get free tickets because I was a previous investor.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's of note, that doesn't really... But that's
Greece,
been running for about 2 or 3 years. Prior
Really?
to that, they've done it like once a year or even twice a year. They had different kind of events on,
And they
basically.
mixed it up a bit.
But now they haven't really done that, and I think that's the problem. You know, is they've just lost their way a bit. Since
Interesting. Yeah, because I always felt it was like a 6-week thing in my head, but it obviously must be a bit longer
it
than
did.
that.
Oh, it
When
didn't
you
go on
say
for
it's been
long.
going on
It
for
may
2,
have
3
gone on
years
for the
or
entire
whatever.
summer, maybe a bit more, maybe
Yeah.
kind of like 3 months or something like that. But
Yeah.
it was a limited period,
Right.
which kind of created that FOMO around it, right? Because hence,
Yeah, the secret. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Because you want to get in. But my brother's really into that kind of that world, isn't he? Like me and my brother, polar opposites in that sense. He loves all the Marvel stuff, the Comic Cons, the things like that.
You're not into that.
Not massively, no.
Did that just all bypass you?
It did. But do you know that when you mentioned Star Wars, the true fact is I was actually named after Luke Skywalker as well. And it wasn't, and it's completely gone past me. I was talking to somebody about that yesterday because I was like, when people say Luke, I am your father.
But
that's close to home for me.
But how old are you? Your parents must have, because you weren't born around that time. You're not, because I was born in '77, so I'm kind of bang in when Star Wars was released. So if anyone should be called Luke, it should be me, really, or Han,
Well, my
or
dad,
Chewie, or something.
Yeah. My dad always says he went to the cinema and he came out and he said, I'm going to name my first son Luke. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. He then says that he was going to push for his second son to be called Yoda, which my mum was having none of. So we got Sam instead. So you've got Luke and Sam.
It could have been a middle name, though, right?
Sam Yoda Pitkin.
Yeah.
You'd have loved that, I reckon.
my brother would have. Yeah. See, he's the one that should have been named after the Star Wars characters.
Right.
I'm the other way. The whole Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, Harry Potter, that world is just lost on me a little bit.
So what is it you're into then?
Working.
Well, I get that.
Exercise.
Yep.
Yeah, I like exercising, like gymming. Now, thanks to him, cycling, running. Whenever I read, it's always to learn stuff. I'm one of those losers that like
not loser. That's
self-development or like...
That's great to always kind of be continually learning, though, right? I think that's a good thing. Not enough of us do it, basically.
Yeah, and then my big vice, if I'm going to sit and just is like football.
Yeah.
That's my big vice. Like if I want to relax on a Sunday, I'll sit and put the footy on and I'll just sit and watch a couple of games. And that's where my brother called me out once because I was like, you're wasting your time watching these films and that. Like, Lord, what are you doing watching Lord of the Rings for 3 hours? He's like, mate, you've just sat and watched 4 football matches. I'm like...
It's interesting because I'm not a massive football fan.
Right.
Probably because I'm from Luton, right? You know what I mean?
Well, it's been good for Luton the last couple of years.
Then it hasn't.
Well, actually, the last couple of years, it's just
until it isn't, right?
then.
I mean, that's kind of just Luton all over, right? So I make that as a joke, but I was never into kind of
the footy.
football. Yeah, never into footy. So maybe there's a thing there. Maybe if you're not into footy, you just end up becoming a nerd. Basically,
it's one or the other.
Do you know what? You say that it typically is kind of one or the other.
I think it is a bit of that. I think there is a bit of that.
Well, I don't mind both.
Actually,
I'm just in the middle.
You're fit in both camps because you're reading fiction books at the moment, aren't you? That my brother's sending you. Is that true? Have I made that up?
No, that's someone else. He sent it, I think.
Oh, really?
Oh, maybe he's going to send me them.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
It's like he's got these hands on his books that's like fairy porn or whatever. And he's like, Andy's reading this at the moment.
I'm not reading fairy porn.
Fairy porn.
It's, yeah, you know, like with
stitch me right up.
Is that a genre on Amazon? Is it fairy porn?
Don't look at the bookshelf.
The first review.
Tinkerbell does.
But yeah, I would say typically people either sit one way or the other. Like my uncle is a big West Ham fan, and he took me to West Ham as a youngster.
Is that your team?
Pardon?
Is that your team?
Yes. Yeah. I was kind of not get that all that side of the family, all West Ham United. Right. So I'm not a Cockney. I was Southend-on-Sea is where I'm born. But a lot of them are, and they pushed me down that road. And he always wanted lad to go to the football with, and he's ended up with two girls. One of which kind of into football, the other one she's massively into the Comic-Cons, the Warhammers, that kind of stuff. So her and my brother like get on really well, and they vibe over that. So yeah, me and my uncle ended up forming that bond because he was like, right, I've got no one else to take. So
you're coming with me basically. Yeah.
But you're into sports though, right? As well.
I go to the gym a lot. Yeah,
right, okay.
I like kind of strength sports and things like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like kind of world's strongest man and that kind of thing.
Because you're training.
I'm always training, but there is a rough plan to maybe to compete in kind of under 80 kilograms at some point.
Yeah, but
under 80. How much do you weigh?
I have weighed way over 80 previously.
Have you?
At the minute, I weigh about 76.
And how tall are you?
Let's go for not very.
And whilst we're here, what's your foot size?
My inside leg.
And your sexual preferences.
Well, you know.
Sorry. You need to.
So I like all that kind of strength stuff. Yeah, all that kind of stuff. So, and
how long have you done that for?
I've done it for years and years and years. That kind of stuff. I mean, I don't look like I do because I'm not that big. I've never been built particularly big. But I've always had an interest in it. I think it was when I was a kid, right? I used to watch it on TV. You know, it was always because it was always on kind of at Christmas. Well, World's Strongest Man's always on at Christmas.
Is it? Oh, no, it's passed me by. I've never.
And they're still on today. And I've always kind of thought that was insane, right? Pulling cars and pulling trains and pulling whatever else and lifting this, that, and other. And I kind of got into it and knew the characters. And as I got older and going to the gym, I just kind of, I've got a few buddies who are kind of also into it as well. Yeah. Uh-huh. And that kind of then spurred it on.
Gotcha.
And so now the kind of training I do is more like kind of that World's Strongest Man strength training, that kind of thing. I've got it's really wanky. I've got a coach who's a strongman, right?
Really?
Yeah. Who at the weekend was competing in European Strongest Man.
Wow.
Okay. Up in York. He came fifth in his weight class. So that's the kind of idea is maybe but I'm getting older. I'm 48 now, so I'm getting I'm sitting here. My back is in stitches at the minute because of for deadlifts and things like that.
Yeah.
And
gotta be so careful, man.
Yeah.
With the deadlifts.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I was talking to a sports psychologist yesterday about this kind of stuff, and how I can improve it, even though I know I'm in a bit of pain. It's not serious. It's only muscular. It's not actual kind of. It's not skeletal or anything like that. And we were talking around how you can kind of mentally put yourself into a position where I can overcome that, get past that, and kind of hit those things.
Interesting.
The brain.
And he's a sports psychologist specifically for strongmen as well.
Wow.
And so I've got all these kind of I've got these kind of visualizations to do about sit there calm 5 minutes a day, picturing myself lifting the weights I want to lift, and going through the point of like the that are going through, understanding what the pain is, not worrying about it because it's not actually going to affect me. That I can lift that weight and lifting the weight, and then feeling the exhilaration of lifting the weight at the end, visualizing all of this over and over and over again. So when you come to do it, it's all second nature. You're not overthinking it and things like that, because something like a deadlift is really quite a technical lift, right? There's where your feet are, where your hands are, where your shoulder blades are pinched back. There's the position, the angle of your back, angle of your chin, so you're not like this, and all this kind of stuff. And if you, what I found is I overthink it. I'm setting up for too long and thinking this, and then when I go, it's like, I don't want to hurt my back, so I think about it too much. And as soon as I feel something in my back, I stop. I don't go. Which is stopping me from actually progressing to the really heavy weights, which I'm trying to get to.
Do you do any stuff like that, like meditation or visualization? Is that new to you? Or
that's new to me. Yeah, I've always thought it was a load of bullshit. If I be honest, I've never really kind of been into any of that kind of stuff. But there's definitely something for said to being, in a calm space and a kind of and chilling your mind out and trying to, not think about anything apart from just lifting a weight. As an example, right?
Yeah.
But even that, I tend to overthink things in life generally, and it just kind of, I think that just now is filtering into the gym.
You overthinker.
As I've got older, I've got definitely become more of a warrior and things like this as well.
Really?
Which is concerning because I've never been like that. I've been quite kind of relaxed. I think just as age is catching up with me, I think there are other things in the world that I shouldn't be worried because I don't have much to be worried about. Right? In all honesty.
Yeah, funny that, isn't it?
But there's little things, it's silly little things like, I wasn't worried about kind of driving here, but I haven't driven here before. It's just like, so I was like checking the kind of like how to get here last night, and it's like to make sure I knew where I was going. It's just weird kind of stuff my dad would have done. You know what I mean?
While you're having a little drink, do you want to? I don't know. This is a staple of the pod now that you may or may not be aware of, is that everybody that drives this way gets a gift. And you are no exception, my friend.
Oh my god!
I think it's a bit of a keep it that way if you can.
Quite delicate.
Okay. All right.
Keep it upright.
It will rattle around.
And
I've tried to not wrap it up too heavily.
I'm going to put the mic down.
Yeah, that's.
It's well wrapped. Who wrapped this?
Oh, I did. Yeah.
You can do Christmas wrapping.
I'll take that. Normally, I get criticised from my.
You've done
wrapping ability.
You've done a good job. Right, let's see if this is still in one piece. Because I think this could be quite...
It will... Yeah, I might have to explain...
I can see what it... I get the idea of what... So...
I'm going to give you a mic.
Okay. I've got like a little...
Do you want to put it on the desk over here?
Just put it there.
So this is... I thought when we were just having that conversation that this could be quite a good little timing.
Oh, they're rogue as well. They're actually kind of rogue weights.
Yeah, so
the professional weights. Basically.
Yeah. And it's for your
PBs.
Your PBs.
Oh, so it's like a little kind of like
it's a tracker.
You can track.
Amazing.
So you can keep this in your office and you can put what your PBs are for
my
your
deadlifts, my benches and squats. Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, you lads have you've outdone yourself.
Oh, look at us go.
That is cool.
There's quite a few different. There's more plates in there of different
You've got
colours.
loads of plates and all the colours. Yeah.
I didn't want to offend you by putting some.
It's usually all 25s. You know what I mean? It's just, if you don't bother with the 5s, you know what I mean? Yeah.
I just whacked out a few.
Yeah, so that can sit in your office and you know what your little PB.
There was 2 random things in there as well. I couldn't quite work out what they were.
There's a couple of bits of shit in there for you.
I thought you a little jellyfish and a spider or something.
Amazing, right? Yeah, who doesn't need that? That would kind of yeah.
There you go, mate.
Oh, you're a star.
Have I spelled your name correctly?
Yeah.
Whitelock's personal records.
Most people drop the E; they think it's Whitlock, right? So that's what you usually get, but it's Whitelock. Yeah.
Cool.
So that is that's class. Well done.
Do you know what your PBs are already?
I do. Yeah, I do.
So you can load it up later, and
I can load it up. So deadlift is 170 kilograms.
Right,
I've done. Bench is 100. And
that was this year, wasn't it?
I did that recently. And squat, I think it's around about 125, which I did this morning.
Oh, right. Blimey.
Yeah. my coach wanted me to get to 130, but it was like, that didn't feel. It felt just a bit too. He's very particular on depth and things like that on your squats. And
it's important though, right? The form is everything.
Yeah, it is when you're doing kind of big weights, right? And so. That's class, lads. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Quite useful for you.
Have you got the little kind of clips of class?
No, it doesn't come.
Do you know what? I was wrapping it earlier, being like, do you know what? Little clips would be really.
That'd be wicked. Yeah, you just got little kind of like exactly. Little spring clips.
You could get a paper clip and like.
I'll make my own. Yeah, I'll make my own little spring clips for it.
But if we go back to me being crap with arts and crafts, it came and it was just like in loads of pieces. And I opened the box and I showed it to Andy. He was like, "Just give it to me. I'll take it." And I was like, "What do we do?"
It's quite easy. Yeah.
No, mate, that is brilliant. Thank you very much.
Came up. So if you compete in a strongman, do you know when that would be?
So I think the idea originally was to maybe do some like powerlifting competitions towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
Which literally
this year.
Which would just mean basically just doing like one event, like a deadlift or a squat or something like that.
Okay.
And just getting used to that environment. Right. A competitive environment with other people and the pressure that comes with and all that kind of thing.
Because imagine like when you stand up there having everybody watching you is something you probably
I would imagine if the kind of the level I would be at, there wouldn't be many people there, in all honesty.
Yeah. But all the other competitors, right?
There will be other competitors,
Yeah, they'll be watching you, won't they?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm sure there'll be a lot of pressure and I'm sure the nerves kick in. But hopefully that thing around visualization is kind of gonna support that as well, just to kind of calm the nerves. And you take that 10 seconds before you lift and you imagine yourself lifting it and you move in and go for it basically. The only problem I've got is just injuries. As I'm getting older, I pick up injuries left, right and centre now. So knees, back, shoulder, there's something always there. But if you're lifting that kind of weight, you're always going to be doing something, right?
Do you do yoga?
I don't, but I do stretch out. I do a lot of stretching. I stretch out and I kind of, unlike a lot of people, I do warm up and things like that.
Yeah, so key.
To kind of, and do a lot of band work and things like that, just to kind of make sure everything's kind of greasing the wheels right before you kind of get going. But I don't do yoga. I'm fairly flexible. I'm not too bad. I think I'm kind of naturally not bad like that.
Right. Because I find that's one of the biggest things. I don't lift heavy with the deadlifts, but I twinged my back years ago, and it caused me grief. Like I have pins and needles in my legs type vibes. Like when you said yours was muscular.
That's kind of nerve damage. That more is it? Whereas mine's more muscular.
Right. Yeah. But yoga for me has been a game changer. Like I used to live with constant pins and needles and pain. Yeah. I don't anymore, and I put that down to two things: yoga and the other thing I think this helps is cycling, because it was getting the blood around the area without any impact, and those two things seem to like change it for me massively. So I would say
probably like a sciatic nerve thing. That's usually what does that.
Like you were saying with the mind thing, I like to work on that as well and be like, actually, no, I need to get out of my head of I've got sciatica. Right? I can't sit here and think that, because if I sit there and think that, I go, oh, actually, I can feel a little like, do you know what I mean?
And it can play in your mind. And when you feel a little twinge, then it's like there's almost a reason not to go out and do that kind of stuff.
100%, yeah. And I actually sometimes think it can be worse if you just end up like, obviously you've got to be careful, but actually doing nothing just seizes you up.
That's the worst, right? Every time I do my back in, you just got to keep on moving around. Going for a walk is just probably one of the better things, right? Mm-hmm. If you just sit there thinking that you're going to rest it, resting naturally doesn't do it. You've got to get blood to the area. Now, I'm no doctor, so I don't. So anybody watching, don't take my word as a complete word of advice. But for me, I've had MRI scans and back there, so I know it's muscular. And it's just inflaming this specific muscle in my back every time when it does it. So bit of warmth, bit of cold, and keep blood flow to it basically, which means just going for a walk and not avoiding the gym basically, which I have done in the past as well. So
nice.
And that can kind of
do it. Yeah, I'd be interested to make like if you. I assume you'll potentially post or like monitor it if you go to the World's Strongest Man thing.
I'm not going to go to World's Strongest Man, right? I mean,
in my head you are. In my head, you're Banksy and the World's Strongest Man.
I don't think that's going. But it would be just the way it works. It works like anything, right? There's local competitions, then you go to kind of like regional.
You got to earn your stripes,
mate. I think it's simply. I think it's one of those things that I just I'll happily tick off just going to a competing.
Yeah,
right?
Fair.
I'm not kind of, I don't have any aspirations that it's going to do, but just to kind of, again, be in that environment, right? I think that'd be quite kind of interesting. But like yourself, I like to keep on learning, right? And doing things. And I don't traditionally learn. I don't kind of sit there and read books or go to classes necessarily. But I like to try and have goals to reach towards. So the goal of doing something like, even if you don't get there, something to aim towards. Yeah. Right. That always motivates me a lot.
Yeah. It's important, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's not easy. I think a lot of people kind of struggle with kind of, setting themselves goals, whether they're in work or whether they're outside of work or if it's learning something. So I'm learning to DJ at the minute.
Oh, yeah.
As well. So I've just
what a combination.
I know.
Art, DJ.
But I think it probably comes from being a bit middle-aged and having a bit of kind of expendable cash, right? And just being one of those things I've always kind of been interested in. Again, no aspiration to be a kind of superstar DJ, but I like music. I've always been into music, always been into kind of house music and things like that. So
house has been your thing.
Yeah, and just so picked up a little kind of like a little DJ set, some decks basically, and then kind of upgraded to Zen. And for that, I actually have had lessons. I am taking kind of lessons.
I feel like it's one of those things you have to.
Yeah, I think I needed one-to-one. So I was trying to do stuff online, and it wasn't really working. So I kind of booked into these kind of one-to-one classes with a guy up in Birmingham, and that's been really helpful. Kind of and just kind of understanding how it all works, and
nice. Because I like my music, and at uni we followed the house scene more, and I gave it a go, and I was like, oh god, this is like, it's actually way more.
Were you doing on like with records, or were you doing it with kind of digital?
Nah, digital. We had a little digital one that we like bought, a couple of us bought, and that plugged into the laptop, and we were just trying. I can't remember what the software was that we used.
Record box.
God, I really
Serato.
I can't remember. What is it? No, I really can't remember
DJ
at all.
Pro.
We could be here a lot. That sounds familiar. DJ Pro. Yeah, I was going to say I feel like it began with DJ.
DJ Pro's the kind of like Max kind of version of
like
their software. It's kind of like for kids or for babies.
Right? Yeah, that makes sense. It would have been DJ Pro. Yeah,
you press the button to do it all automatically, and pretty much does the rest for you basically.
Right. And I still struggled.
But yeah, again, it's one of those. I like the kind of. You try and build up a set list, right? What the songs are going to go together? What tracks are going to go together? How do I blend those in? Where do I mix in? Should I be putting loops here? Do I kind of like layer this? Do I, how does it all work? Right? Again, it gets you thinking, because I think, when I talk to some DJs, they're very much that's, you're going against, it should be much more of a flow, but I'm just a beginner. So I'm just kind of, I like that kind of that process of trying to build a set is really an interesting thing. Yeah.
Do you go to events at all? Like, because obviously we had Kate on here, and she's massive into like going to Ibiza and those types of house events.
Do you know, I've never been to Ibiza. I generally am not much of a raver. For me, it's more about I just love the music.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't think I could stay up. These days. I couldn't. I'm not going to be there at kind of like 4 a.m. in the morning anymore. Right. That just isn't me. But yeah, I just love the music. I suppose I quite like kind of that deep house vibe, which is when the sunset kind of vibe, the kind of warm up for the main DJ. That's the kind of stuff. There's a bit slower, a bit less kind of the BPM's a bit slower. It's a bit kind of chilled out, a bit more kind of relaxed. That kind of that kind of thing.
I can get on board with that.
What I'm more into. When it gets a bit too fast, then I'll leave that to someone else to do. Right?
Yeah, fine. Because when we used to follow it around, I was more like I don't know what you call it, but it was like very mainstream house. It was like Avicii, Swedish House Mafia, bit of Tiesto. We followed a trance group called Above and Beyond. I don't know if you know those boys.
Yeah, I know the name. I'm not sure I could name it.
Because they're three blokes that must be like coming on to 60.
But all those guys are now, right? They're like Carl Cox and people like that.
Carl Cox.
These are guys who've been kicking
David
around.
Guetta.
Right. Well, David Guetta's son now is a DJ. Right. That tells you how follows them around.
Fatboy Slim, or what's it, Norman Cook?
Norman Cook.
Cook.
All those guys, right? But I guess I was into I used to like a bit of hip hop, kind of like 90s and kind of late 80s hip hop. And that kind of scratching scene, I think that's maybe where that came from as well. Seeing these guys, like I loved the Beastie Boys, and they had a guy called Mixmaster Mike, who would be their DJ and be scratching online, and it's like unbelievable, unbelievable, right? Hit the way, and he still does. He's still amazing, and all on kind of like old school kind of LPs, and just just seeing that was amazing. And there's another guy like kind of this guy called DJ Yoda who does a lot of that kind of stuff.
I don't know him.
I've not. Well, he still tours around, right? And he mixes stuff. last time I saw him, he did like a whole 80s thing.
Yeah.
So it was just mixing stuff from the 80s, but it was 80s theme tunes and things like that, all kind of stuck into like this kind of thing. There's a great band called Ugly Duckling who aren't together now, but the DJ in there, a guy called DJ Einstein, was phenomenal. He was a amazing kind of like he could scratch like anyone. It was nuts to see them do that kind of stuff. I think maybe that's where that. Not that I'm going to be that kind of thing. Or to scratch perverts or those kind of people. You know, I can't do that yet.
But if you enjoy it, like, and it's another outlet for you.
Yeah.
So if we go back to Sunderland,
this
all began. How talk to me about. You've obviously studied art. How have you ended up in working with recruiters, and what made you want to work with recruiters?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah,
because I've never met an artist this is the first artist I've spoken to that's ended up in.
I wouldn't necessarily class myself as an artist.
I
So did the fine art. I tried then to be an artist for a while.
Yeah.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
So that was the aim, was it?
Yeah, it was, and I had a few kind of shows and kind of exhibited in a few places, and I actually worked for a little while. I always tell this story. I worked for a guy called Sir Anthony Gormley, who was the sculptor behind the Angel of the North.
Oh, right. Okay.
So I worked in his.
That's the one at Newcastle, right? The one
Gateshead, just outside. Yeah. So it had just been kind of made and built and put up around about that time when I was just coming out of university in like 2000, 2001 kind of time, and I saw a little advert in the back of this like kind of artist magazine, just saying, look, just for helping someone's studio, tiny little thing like that. And I gave it a ring at the time and got this job. Only did it, and then did I realise it was Anthony Gormley, who was quite a famous artist by that point. Yeah. And it was working in his studio, kind of welding his pieces together, basically. Because he didn't make it. He had a team. We had a team of like 30 apprentices, basically, in there. Just all
that actually made
all the work. He just comes up with the ideas, right? And we were all kind of making and welding these pieces.
So you actually worked on it?
Not the Angel of the North, but but he had a big exhibition that he was working towards, and he scaled up. I only did it for a couple of months, basically.
It's cool though.
But. I can weld as well. That's the other thing that will kind of
it's quite a skill.
So I did that, and then over time, I just wasn't kind of getting the gigs right. It just was difficult to find work as an artist and make money. So I started to teach myself how to do graphic design.
Yeah.
Okay. So I got a kind of like a hooky copy of
Photoshop.
Yeah, basically. Right, and taught myself Photoshop and all that kind of stuff.
Was that back in the torrenting days?
Basically, right?
Yeah.
Basically, I got that.
BitTorrent vibe.
All of that, right? Never paid for any of that kind of stuff. It was all likely to be. You were like to be locked out of it at some point, right? You know what I mean? But yeah, so did that for maybe 6 months, trying to be like a freelance graphic designer, and then got a job in a merchandising company as a graphic designer. But it wasn't really graphic design. It was like, I need to reduce the size of this logo so it can go into a pen or something, right? There was that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That led on to then there was a job at Select Appointments, which is a recruitment agency, and their head office at the time was just around the corner from where I was working in Luton. It was kind of.
So you're still in Luton at this point.
So I'm still in Luton at this
early
point.
Early 20s. Or
yeah. So 2002, 2003 kind of time. And that was for like a web designer. And I was like, yeah, I can do that. And got in and kind of fumbled my way through the interview and did what I needed to do to get the job, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, I had no idea what HTML was or anything like that. Because websites were still being built in HTML at that point, right? You know what I mean?
CSS.
And so, kind of in sequence databases and all that kind of stuff, right? I had no idea, but I got through somehow. I did that for a little while. And then the company that owned Select Appointments was this kind of like multinational, multi-brand company called Vedior, based out of the Netherlands. And their UK office was actually based in St Albans.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And I got the job there as like a kind of like website management, which was overseeing all the kind of brands' websites across the globe, from everything from the UK to the States to Australia, blah, blah, blah. And kind of basically.
So you were building them, were you?
I wasn't building them. At that point, I was kind of like, I was almost kind of like consulting on to say, look, this is what they need to be doing. You need to have, if whoever you're working with needs to build it like this, blah, 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 and kind of almost kind of quality control to a certain extent.
Right, okay.
And also, I also took ownership of, at that point, I had a global database of jobs from all of the different brands.
Okay.
And it was about 200,000 jobs or something in it. So it's actually a ginormous database of basically a job board.
Yeah.
And we basically, I was managing this effectively a job board, which was the largest kind of recruitment agency job board globally at the time.
Right.
Vedio was then bought by Randstad, who I then went to work for Randstad for a while in their offices in Amsterdam for a couple of years.
Very nice.
And had to commute over. It sounds nice.
Right.
It wasn't. It got very tedious pretty quickly.
Did it?
Yeah. Having to commute over every week and the Randstad.
Exciting for the first month or so,
Right?
and then
Yeah,
you're
it's
like,
brilliant.
fuck, I'm on a
and
plane.
then you realise that none of the people you work with live in Amsterdam because it's too expensive. So you're in the evenings, you've got nothing to do. Nothing to do. Amsterdam's pretty small actually,
and
you
it's
can
different
walk
being a tourist to going to work somewhere, right?
Well,
It's
and
very
I was
different.
basically living out of a hotel,
right.
and was eating badly. There wasn't a gym, and I put on weight, and it just was like this just wasn't much fun after a while.
Yeah.
And I don't think Randstad knew what to do with me because I kind of had this different kind of skill sets. So they put me in like the IT department, which what I naturally didn't fit into. I was much more kind of creative. They didn't want me in the marketing department for whatever reason because they had that covered. So I left them and then went to work for the Empresario Group, which again multi-brand.
Yeah.
A lot of the ex kind of Vedio and Select Appointments people had gone to work over there. That's where I met Miles Hunt, who was the CEO of the Empresario Group.
That name rings a bell to me, Miles.
Yeah, Miles is kind of like he's got his fingers in lots of kind of business, and he's been kicking around in recruitment for a long time.
Yeah, name
now.
rings a bell for sure.
And we kind of got on, and we still talk to this day. He became a bit of a kind of a mentor, and he was actually leaving Empresario. I timed me leaving and starting Thinking Circles with that exactly when that happened.
Right.
And Miles then helped me to negotiate a contract for Thinking Circles back with Empresaria. So I did a lot of their kind of their marketing and things at that point. Okay. So
he got you a decent in there, basically.
And
that was when you launched.
That was when I launched Thinking Circles, and that was 12 and a half years ago.
12. Wow. Okay. So you kind of came out the gates with a client all ready to go.
Yeah. That said, it still wasn't easy. I still had to find clients. Yeah. That first year, I was applying for like proper jobs in that summer because I just things were weren't great.
Yeah.
And anyone who's kind of started their own business, you're right. Yeah. There are points where it just
for sure.
And you just like, this is just not going to work.
This is pants. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And I had that in that first year, but
it's common for a lot of businesses. Right?
Oh yeah, completely. I mean, if you're going to go out of business as a small business, you're going to go out in the first few years. Yeah. Right. Yeah. But managed to keep everything on track. And then started to grow it, started to make, know more people in and around recruitment, in the kind of my network started to build, started to get a few more jobs, started to build the team out, met Rich, who's the kind of creative director at Thinking Circles, who's kind of been with me since the start.
Yes.
He came aboard, and then that all kind of went fine until we got to kind of COVID. And then it kind of, everything went online, and our workload just exploded, and then the business went through the roof. Nice. And we got up to kind of, I think, 8-9 people on our kind of largest, until it all kind of came to a crashing the kind of the end, 22, 23 into 24 kind of thing. Yeah. It all kind of come to a stop, and I unfortunately had to make a few people kind of redundant, which
that's hard.
Still. It really pisses me off to this day because I had to let some really good people go. But we did benefit off the back of kind of COVID, and the business has been growing kind of like that. It's been around there ever since, really.
Yeah, nice. It's amazing.
But yeah, that's the story off the back of being an artist and a sculptor and things like that. Yeah,
it's funny how life takes you in certain directions that you just never planned.
I kind of like a lot of people kind of fell into recruitment, right? That's the way everybody describes it like that, right? It was not my aim to go, because I worked for Select Appointments. It was not my aim. I just wanted another job.
You just go
and ended there, and then haven't left in ever since, right? So what's that? 20 something years later, just haven't been able to get out. Yeah, right. Wow. But yeah, I mean. I enjoy it. I think there's a lot to be said for the recruitment space, right? I think it gets a real bad rap. It has its moments, right, and it has its personalities. But yeah, if you can kind of, with any niche, right? If you can you can make it your own, and I think you can make something of it. But I can understand why a lot of people aren't really digging it. I know if I was talking to someone yesterday because we were looking for a new role, maybe some kind of something to do around some social selling for Thinking Circles, and they weren't really familiar with the fact that recruitment marketing was with a thing.
Yeah,
and it's like, yeah, trying to sell it is sometimes can be difficult.
I was going to ask that question.
Yeah, selling recruitment marketing can be difficult sometimes because it's not sexy. It's not sexy, and sometimes, right?
Yeah,
it's not like. Like I think most marketeers want to do like B2C. They want to do that kind of like customer facing stuff. They want to, right? B2B.
The next iPhone, Dolce & Gabbana, like, or whatever,
right?
like,
all that kind of stuff. Yeah. When you're doing B2B, it's the kind of less sexy side of it.
Yeah,
right?
Of course.
And then even less sexier when you're dealing with recruitment agencies.
Yeah.
Nothing against the recruitment agencies, but I bet most of them say it's probably not the sexiest kind of job in the world, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so
but I think that creates opportunity.
Oh well, yeah, but
I mean, not for the people you're employing, but I think for like I might be speaking out of turn here, but I imagine a lot of recruitment agencies will probably turn their nose up at marketing and be like, "Oh no, we just smashed the phones." And I think recruitment marketing on the whole is very bland and similar. So if you can find someone that comes in and like does something different, I think you have the chance to stand out in recruitment.
I agree. Sometimes we're not given that chance. Sometimes agencies want it to be a bit bland and similar. I think there's
do they?
There's a bit of kind of like keeping up with the Joneses. Kind of sometimes it's like those guys are doing it quite well. Can we do that? It's like, well, why don't we do it better than that? Why don't we do something different from that? I tell you what, the bit I enjoy, and I think the growth area for us at Thinking Circles is working with recruitment tech businesses, right? And we've got a significant amount of those on our books now, and
so less agencies now.
It's a kind of a 50-50 split
at
the minute.
Okay, right.
I mean we've always kind of pitched towards that kind of the suppliers into the space as well, because I think our knowledge is easily transferable, right?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
We know what recruitment agencies want, and we know what kind of how they work. So if you're a supplier, then why wouldn't you tap into kind of our knowledge on that?
For sure.
But the tech businesses, usually depending on where they are in their life cycle, they might be, post seed, Series A. They know they understand marketing, and they kind of realize the power of it. So I don't always have to have that conversation of why you need it, but it's like when you need it, right? Yeah. And if you want us to do it or someone else. Those businesses are interesting to work with,
sure,
right?
Because they're probably doing a variety of things as well. Like dealing with recruitment agencies, it's just a different industry they sell into.
Recruitment to a certain extent, right?
To a certain degree.
There are some businesses doing it a little bit differently, and if you talk to most recruitment agencies, they'll say they're doing it differently, right? But actually, they're probably not. It's very, they might have a few personalities in there that they might have a different way of pitching it or selling it. A lot of agencies these want to productize what they're doing and things and sell it that way. Yeah. Or you want to kind of move towards being seen as more of a professional service as opposed to a recruitment agency. Those kind of things. All very interesting and all probably the way that you probably should be working if you're a recruitment agency. But you're right, with recruitment tech businesses, we can be working one day, one of our team can be working with a business that's an ATS, or we've got a VMS provider, or we've got businesses that do some outsourcing, or we've got guys that are building apps or all kinds of stuff, right? You know what I mean? It's kind of some businesses, and it's exciting for us
for sure.
As well.
Change of pace, right?
Yeah.
How many of you are there today? Now
there's 5 of us in the team.
Right. Okay.
Now
all remote.
All remote. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. All remote. Though even from the start we never had offices.
Right. Okay.
Never felt any. When I was growing the team, it was like I want people of a certain caliber, who've got a certain experience, and they're just not based in and around kind of Milton Keynes and Northampton.
Yeah.
So I was lucky to find the guys that I have. Right?
Yeah. And all UK based.
All UK based for now.
Yeah.
That might change. We are looking to kind of we're looking at options around that. But yeah, if we do kind of go outside the UK, it might not necessarily be someone who's client facing. It might be more kind of a support style role.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've had grand plans in the past for kind of open up in Australia and things like that. I think there are areas where I think we can do well. Australia, the States. I think there are
States is a big market.
It is. It's probably, and it takes a lot of planning. It finds the right people, and it's a different kind of environment, different psychology around selling there. Recruitment seen slightly differently as well. The term recruitment actually means something different in the States as opposed to staffing. Yeah, I mean they're two different. Okay. So recruitment and staffing, one's temp, one's permanent. Right.
Right. Okay.
So just the language is slightly different. So. Yeah, there's all those.
You see how it goes. One of the other questions I've got to ask is obviously Curry Club.
Yeah,
because you are how many stones are there in the gauntlet thing?
6.
6
in.
In
Thanos's. Yeah, in
Thanos's gloves.
Yeah, there's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, there's one for each finger and there's one in the middle.
Yeah, because it's that one I always forget. Yeah.
Right. Okay. 6. Well, I was hoping there was going to be 4 because I was like, you are the third. He's the third of the Curry.
You've had Nitin and Bobby, right?
Yeah.
We had Nitin and Bobby, so we're missing.
So you're missing Barry. And Sarah, of course. Don't forget Sarah.
Okay, so there is 5 in there.
There is 5 of us. Yeah.
Do you know what? And we could use. Do you think Sarah would want to come on? Because women seem to avoid us like the plague.
I'm sure she would love to come on.
Would she?
Yeah.
Okay. See if you can do that for us, because we could use a little bit of diversity. We've got a lot of we're very male heavy with our guests at the moment.
One female.
We've had one female, and that's Kate. Yeah.
We just reach out to Sarah. I'm sure she'd love to come on.
Okay, cool. Well, we've got it on video, so I can say, Sarah, do you want to come and sit in a flat with 2 lads and talk shit for an afternoon?
I mean, I'm sure she'd love it, to be honest. I mean, she works with kind of me, Barry, Nitin and Bobby, right? You know what I mean? She also got a bunch of guys talking shit, basically. It comes with the territory, right? Yeah.
Selection of characters. Where, what's the end goal, do you think, for that? The Curry Club?
That's a good question. I'm not sure we care at the minute.
Okay.
Too much at the minute. I think we're just letting it do its thing. It's and Bobby Shaw would have mentioned all this. It didn't turn out. It didn't go in a direction we never thought it would go, or become as big as we thought it would be. It was Bobby's idea. He did something with his mates on a very similar thing.
Yeah,
they'd made up occasionally, and he had the idea of moving that into kind of like recruitment.
Yeah.
He spoke to Barry about it. Barry was like, "Yeah, let's do that. We probably need some help. Let's talk to James." And I was like, "Yep, I'm in for that."
So that's how you got tagged in, right? Okay.
And then I was like, "Do you think we need someone else? Let's talk to Nitin." So Nitin got involved.
Yeah.
And then was like, "Actually, this is getting a bit bigger, and we're not very good at the admin or organising anything, right?" And Barry went, "Well, my VA, Sarah, she's great at that kind of stuff, right?" And so, okay, let's have a chat with Sarah. So Sarah then comes on board and does and basically does all the really kind of heavy lifting.
I was going to ask you how much time it takes for you, but
notoriously, I don't put in a huge amount of time, in all honesty, and I'm known for not putting in kind of. And I'm the running joke is that I don't go to a lot of the events and things like that.
Right.
Nitin and Bobby are they really do put the time in,
put the hours in, yeah.
But that's why we've got all these kind of ambassadors. So actually, from us the original founders, we'll probably be doing less and less of those kind of going to the things, because we've got. We had one last night where there was no one from the original founders.
Where was it?
Chester, I think.
Right. Okay.
I think no. Don't quote me on that. Again, I'm not, because we have so many. I do find it hard to keep up with because we've gone past 25 since like December. Right, we've had 25 kind of events, and from all over the country, from north to south to Scotland.
Australia, New York. I've seen,
it is, it's crazy. And we've got people we've had people want to do them in India. It's like, that's just food, right? That's just club. Yeah. That's just club.
The evening club.
That's the club.
That's just club.
And Canada and Singapore and Hong Kong, we've had interest, and sure it will kind of grow. Where it ends up, I'm not sure.
Yeah, because that's the interesting thing for me, because obviously guys don't monetize it. It's like a free thing, but it does take time. So if you're going to grow it and if it's going to get bigger, it's going to need more resource. And it's like, how do you fund that? And
there is funds available, right? So
there's Curry Club funds available. There's
we did. We changed the ticketing kind of a couple of months ago, so that instead of your ticket actually kind of going towards the final bill of your final bill, it's now a ticket for you to attend, right?
We were in that transition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I went to one before the change, and you went to one after.
Yes.
And I was saying to him, you'll get your 20 quid knocked off the bill, and he was like, we didn't.
Yeah, no.
Or it was London prices.
Yeah, it doesn't kind of work like that now. It's booking your place.
Right.
And there's a couple of reasons why we did it. One, because we were selling out quite often, right? And we had a lot of people wanting to get on, so it's like we need to manage those numbers somehow. So let's change it. Also, it means we can give more to our charity partners. I think because that's really where the majority of that money goes to.
Nice.
And then it leaves us a little bit for admin.
Right.
And though none of us get paid at the minute, it does mean that we've got money in like for a float for T-shirts and things like that.
Yeah.
I think, definitely for Bobby and knitting, and for me to a lesser extent, it's definitely kind of built our profiles as well.
Right.
And so that, you can't put money on that, right? That definitely helps. The work comes and stuff from that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So just me putting in maybe an hour or so or a couple of hours a week into it. And actually, I'll be honest, what Chris in my team, he does a little bit of kind of marketing for it as well. So
I met Chris.
Yeah. So Chris,
at the conference,
the team conference.
Yeah.
What was he?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he was there.
You weren't there, were you?
No, I was. But Chris, because one of our clients was
there. He was
there.
supporting Ross.
He was supporting Ross. Yeah, exactly. From Infinity Staff Global.
Yeah. Who was the fella that works with Ross?
He the South African chap with the moustache.
G. Yeah.
So, but I'm thinking of the right Ross though.
Yes. Ross Thompson. Yeah.
He stood next to
tall fella.
Yeah.
No, Chris was on the stand.
Yeah, Chris was
next to Sonovate.
The lads there. Right, fine. Gotcha.
Right. So Chris does a bit of the kind of like the stuff in the background, with the marketing. And actually, he probably puts in a bit more time than I do. I just kind of say yes or no to some stuff, right, and kind of pipe up occasionally. So there's people kind of getting involved. You know what I mean? So the team is bigger. Again, still we don't really do it for the love of it.
Yeah.
But it's as I said, it's built all of our profiles.
That's the key thing for you guys.
That's the kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Right. And that's how I guess we'll kind of monetize it for our personally ourselves. The actual club itself and how it kind of runs and where it's going. It'll just be a situation of more clubs, more ambassadors, more money for charity, more kind of collaborations with the charities and things like that. I think we've got some stuff in the pipeline. You should
post that as well, because that charity stuff's big. Like, so when you guys know what the final numbers are, you should say like, this is how much.
We've got an entire event. I think we've been talking about big cardboard checks to hand over and things like that. You know what I mean? All this kind of stuff. Yeah.
I can see Bobby with a big cardboard check and a big grin, and a big grin on his face.
It's all in the pipeline. It's all being worked out. Yeah.
Nice.
Yes. So that will be kind of. I think September onwards is when you'll see more of that kind of stuff. I think we're kind of, even though there were a couple of clubs over the summer, I think most people are just having a bit of time off, so we're not trying to do too much. But come September,
it's definitely quieter at the moment. Like we're noticing that for sure.
I also think like for me, a curry in the winter is just more like
more warming.
Like a curry in the summer. I'm a bit
curry,
like you kind of sweating
you're seasonal. Yeah, you are seasonal.
I'm more of a barbecue man in the summer.
Well, we were we toyed with the idea of a kind of a summer kind of like curry barbecue somewhere, and we were looking for venues and things like that.
Barbecue like curry chicken.
I'm sure you could you could twist on that. It's not a problem.
Just pour a madras on the barbecue. I just pour a madras on the grill and just
exactly. Right.
Watch it cover the coals. And the other thing I was going to ask you about is your pod.
Yes.
So how long have you been doing your pod for?
Since 2019.
So 6 years.
Yeah.
Worth it?
Again, it's one of those things to just kind of raise your profile. You get to talk to some interesting people. And
that's why we've not been on.
In time. It is. It's good. And again, it's just one of those things just to kind of, initially it was just to have some conversations with people. Initially around marketing.
Yeah.
That soon got dropped, right? I don't think we really talk about marketing at all on there anymore. Which is a bit of a quandary because it's called the Marketing Rules Podcast.
Right.
You could always change that if you wanted to.
I think it's got a brand now. I think people know that's the problem, right? And we've looked into it, and it was like, I think just the brand recognition alone is worth it.
Yeah, but the risk you run is if someone comes to it thinking, I'm going to get some marketing rules from it, and then being like, that's the downside, right?
I completely understand. And
well, I'm trying to give marketing advice to them.
20 years of marketing.
He's
like looking at me you're like, yes, mate, I'm very. Shut up.
No. All ideas are welcome. There's no stupid ideas,
and
right?
That's why you've not been on the podcast.
Oh, very good.
But yeah, no. So it's going well. It's I don't know. You might find this as well. When I first started, and you kind of start to get a bit of momentum, I started to get bombarded by these kind of podcast agents wanting to get their guests on the podcast. You might not be there yet, but you get to a point where you start, like, literally every other email in my inbox was someone, why haven't you talked? We listened to this episode. Why didn't you have this person on? Or why didn't you have this person on?
I didn't even know there's people out there doing that.
There's literally hundreds of these kind of companies out there, right? And we took a few people on, and not without mentioning any names or anything like that, but they were as boring as sin.
Right.
And
what you mean? You accepted some guests on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because what they're doing is they're paying these companies to get them on
onto
a
gig,
to raise their profile.
Yeah.
And the way I've now kind of deal with it is like, they can be on, but you've got to pay now.
Okay.
Because we just kind of, if anyone's going to be boring on the podcast, it should be me, not the guest, right? And that's why people are kind of tuning in. They're not tuning in to listen to me. It's the guest that's the important bit. That's how I kind of see it. So we quite quickly got rid of those. And I had it always described to me by Matt Alder, who does the Recruiting Future podcast. If you're not listening, it's brilliant. One of the kind of originators of podcasting. Matt Alder. And it's in the way into the kind of top 10 kind of management podcasts kind of globally, right? It is a really, really, and it was like, what you do, you level up your guests. So you get someone on, and then you kind of think, okay, they know someone else you can kind of keep on leveling up the quality of your guests, because that's how you want to keep it going, right? You want to kind of to get bigger profiles on there. That's the way you want to kind of try and do it, until you're kind of like Stephen Bartlett levels of just kind of, you can invite anyone on, they'll come on. Not that I'm a massive fan of his, but yeah, that's the kind of maybe next time someone maybe I can help you to level up to the next, a much better marketeer basically.
Well, if you know Steve Bartlett, see if you can.
He won't return my calls.
But I don't know if you know this, but there is another member of the Curry Club that also has a podcast. I don't know if you're
Nitin.
Yeah, aware of that.
Nitin, he's happy to remind us, everyone, that he's got this very successful YouTube channel that he goes. He won't let us. However, I do think that that the Marketing Rules gets more listeners, audio kind of downloads, than his gets kind of
right.
Is
it right?
Yeah. So because I was very militant at the start that it was going to be audio only, and actually only recently have we started kind of putting them off onto YouTube.
You've got to,
you can't get away with it, but
you can't ignore it now, can you?
But because we record the video anyway, right? But it was much more around kind of being audio. I was much more kind of like, it's only about the audio.
The audio is big though. The audio is important. Getting the audio right is super key.
But people listen to it on Spotify, on iTunes, and those.
We
get
quite a lot of that.
Yeah, that was really my thing. I was like, it's meant for that. I don't really care if anyone watches the video
it or not. Yeah, but like YouTube's such a beast that you almost can't be missing out on that.
Well, Nitin's proved it, right? I mean, he's got.
They've just tipped over 80,000.
Yeah, he's gonna fucking love you saying that, right?
We're closing in.
He literally every time you see him, he's like, just say it. Go on, say it. Kind of like, go on, say it. But he's proven that you can kind of do it, right? There is, there's room for that, right?
Of course.
It's
room for everyone to play as well.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing is we kind of briefly touched it earlier when you were talking about recruiters that want to copy what other recruiters are doing and say they're doing well and copying that. I heard a concept yesterday called reverse benchmarking, where it was like, look at the competition and don't look at what they're doing well, but look at what they're doing poorly and play into that. And I thought it was really interesting because it was like it was a story about a Michelin. I don't know if the story's true, but they were talking about a Michelin chef who he was like 50th in the list and he wanted to become like first. So they went to the restaurant that was first and his staff came away and said, they do this fantastic, they do this. And they're like, what do they do badly? And the beer drinkers said, well, they don't really cater for beer. It's all wine sommeliers. Right. And the coffee was poor. So he was like, we're going to flip it. And when the beer drinkers came into their restaurant, it was like, here's your beer sommelier. And he's going to tell you about all these fantastic beers and what pairs well with the food. Yeah. And they played into what the number one was doing poorly and apparently like shot up the list because it was an experience. Yeah. So when you talk about Nitin's pod, like for us, I always think like, what does Nitin do poorly? That wasn't the way I wanted the conversation to go, but I find myself here. But it's like looking at like maybe what he does and thinking actually we'll play into something slightly different. Because
I think what you guys do actually is really interesting. You know, it is because it's just a conversation, it's just chat, it's just people sitting there.
But that's what we like, I suppose. Isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what we
But you'll be surprised at how hard that actually is to do.
Do you think?
To get people just to relax and have a conversation? I think it's down to you two to a certain extent, right?
Really?
Oh, thank
that
you.
I feel like so far we've done well.
You put people at ease, right?
Yeah.
And that's the kind of that's the vibe.
I wonder how.
Well, I think one is done in your front room.
A pair of twats, mate. That's why.
I think you're just generally quite kind of like, you know, you're chatty guys, right?
Yeah.
You're kind of and you seem generally interested in kind of people just to ask questions.
Yeah.
But it's not really work focused, right? So whereas with me and knitting, it's definitely kind of like it's about work, it's about jobs, it's about stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's all quite serious stuff. Rarely does anyone ever break out into laughter, which we've done on numerous occasions.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of your niche,
Right.
I think.
Yeah.
Twats.
I think.
No, it's
think
just much more relaxed about nothing. It's about nothing in particular, but
Yeah.
about everything in particular.
Of course.
And then if you add the fact that we think we find ourselves funny,
Right, yeah, that's
and then
a sad
we're
thing.
just bringing
Really?
people on the journey.
Really?
Yeah, I fucking laugh at myself all the time. But someone's got to laugh.
But when you say about interest people, I do find it interesting because for me, like I'll do a bit on the front about the business, and then people can go and find that because I'm sure there's lots of content about you and what you do with the business. But I'm actually like what I found fascinating about sitting with you today is like you're from Luton. Like to me, that I like finding that kind of stuff out. You studied art. You're an artist. You went to Sunderland. Like for me, all the weightlifting stuff, I like all of that.
Yeah.
And I just genuinely find people's stories interesting.
Yeah.
And I think like we've always said, probably going over the same thing, but like when we were talking about doing this and what we wanted it to be, we were like, if we're not ourselves, people just see through that.
Yeah.
Like if you sat down and we're like, we're going to talk about the top 10
That whole
marketing
authenticity thing is and generally in marketing
Just
it's
goes out
quite
the
it's quite an important thing, right? And in employer branding, to be authentic and to be yourselves and get a true reflection of who you are, who your business is, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that just kind of then projects outwards.
Right.
And so so I would suggest just keep doing what you're doing, because I think that you have got a niche, right, that within the recruitment space isn't really there. I'll be honest, I've thought about doing it on having that kind of thing and just never being able to pull it off, right? Like you, I really get interested in people and I like to ask them about it, but it's much more kind of, I think it's kind of that professional service. And usually if someone's come on, they usually sometimes are coming on with a bit of an agenda as well.
Of course. Yeah,
So you've got to that, you've got to kind of cover that a little bit as well.
Yeah, that's why we try and ask, like, do steer some conversation towards you and what you do, right? Because that then gives us the ability to push that as well. But it's interesting to hear you say that you didn't think you could pass it off, like having.
Well,
that
I tell
kind
you
of
what,
style
I don't think I could. I don't think I could do it on my own, right?
That does help.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Is
Coming as a pair.
If I think if it was another person, if I started another podcast, I wouldn't do it on my own. It would be with someone else,
Right?
Because I think those are the ones that work really well because you've got someone else to kind of like take over. When you have a brain fart or something, right? And that kind of thing.
He asked me that. He was like, "Do you want me to come on to the guests, or do you want to do them on your own?" When we first started getting guests on, and I was like, "100% come in, because if I do something stupid, you'll call me a twat." Whereas the guest won't,
which happens a lot.
Yeah, which is basically his
like
role.
today when you were like, "Oh, maybe I shouldn't say this," and I'm,
right, yeah. So it feeds in, but our relationship helps as well. The thing I was going to ask you, actually, you said about being authentic is a big part of getting your brand across. If you are working with a recruitment agency, and you can tell they've gone into like corporate mode and they're not shown, how do you try and coax out of them the authentic side if you can see that there's a...
So it depends who you're dealing with within that business, right? Sometimes the inauthenticity is driven from the top, right?
Okay.
Because sometimes the CEO, MD might have a different perspective of what the business is or is putting out there as to what it actually is, because they're probably they own it outright. They're the kind of co-founder.
Yeah.
They're very close to it. So the way you can kind of get around that is get other people within the team involved to give a different face to the business.
Right, okay. So you just pick different people rather than
different personalities, different people with different roles, basically, to become more advocates, right?
Okay.
That's the kind of thing. And it just opens your business up. In all honesty, we have this problem at Thinking Circles. I'm the face of the business. There's 5 of us in the business. Rarely does anyone else ever want.
I didn't know there was more people. That's what I'm saying.
Rarely do they ever want. They don't really want to get on camera. They're just they're not as
I'm a bit like that.
gregarious or outgoing as I am, right? Or like you, Mark, probably to a certain extent.
These boys are the same,
right?
Yeah.
And they don't really feel comfortable with that. hence why I'm actually looking to bring someone in who might be able to do more of that. You know what I mean? And so, if you've got a business where you've got a few people that are quite happy to kind of give it a go, don't worry about making a fool of themselves, are quite happy to just kind of jump in and give it a go. That helps, right? Because it it gives you that other shop window, right? As opposed to me talking about thinking circles all the time. And if there's someone else doing it as well, it's like, okay, there's two people kind of talking similar things, maybe from slightly different angles, blah, 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 you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And again, I don't want to give Nitin any more props, right? But, he's got
I'll edit it out. I'll bleep his name.
All right. But he's got a chap working for him who does do something very kind of similar at the minute, right?
What's his name? I've seen him. GJ.
Yeah. Who's doing kind of that kind of thing.
Sure.
And it's inspired. It's an inspired piece of kind of hiring really from Nitin's part, is to get someone else to kind of take over doing the camera. And I know also, I think Nitin was looking at getting other people to, do some of the podcasts, host some of the podcasts and things for him, right? Yeah. And it's just the way you go around just building the breadth and building the kind of the personalities and more people on camera and that kind of thing. And now that can completely be moved into a recruitment agency setting or a recruitment technology setting or any other setting, right? The more people you get involved and who are willing to put themselves out there, the better, I think. You get a better, deeper insight into that business.
For sure.
Yeah.
The point you made about not taking themselves too seriously and making a fool of themselves is a really key part, because whenever you do stuff like this for the first time, you are gonna you're not gonna be a natural. The camera goes on, you freeze up, you panic. So and there isn't that. I think that is one of the biggest things about getting people to adopt doing video content, is getting over that. You are going to look
sometimes
like a wally.
We've kind of coached people on it, right? And there's all kinds of methodology to get around it. The problem is
some tips coming in.
Well, the thing
listen up.
is you can't get you kind of, video is such a big medium now.
Massive.
Most of social media has some kind of video element, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, wherever it might well be.
Every single one has a video element.
There's a video element built into it, and those are the stuff that tends to do really well still.
Yeah.
And we had a client, and they were reticent to get on camera, and they felt immediately uncomfortable when they were on camera.
Yeah.
And they knew and they felt this huge amount of pressure to do it. So no, it wasn't a podcast. It was just kind of pieces to camera that was kind of...
But they can be harder sometimes.
Yeah, they are,
talking
right?
heads are harder than just sat here, I think.
Yeah, completely, right? When you've got no one to bounce off.
Yeah, and you're staring straight at the lens. I think that can be...
And so the kind of tips I gave to them was to your subject, right? So you back yourself in that kind of sense.
In that department, yeah.
And don't try and script it. And don't try and remember a script, because that never works. Because as soon as you go off script, you go...
your brain then goes, I've missed that bit, and then you're not thinking about where you should be. Yeah, 100%.
Most people, though, can answer questions, right? So if you ask yourself a question about what you want to talk around, then just answer the question. Right. So have a list of questions, maybe, that you want to answer, and break it down that way.
Or someone off camera asking you the question.
Or whatever, exactly.
You know what I mean?
But
side-by-side
But everyone's quite used to answering questions about their business or what they do.
Sure.
And probably answer it very fluidly and do it almost on a daily basis.
Yeah. And then the camera goes on, and
if you structure it like that, that helps. There's also things, you can have like auto cues and things like that these days.
Okay.
And though it is, it's a bit of a skill to kind of read, talk, look engaging all at the same time. Sure. This was actually something that this person kind of found really useful, was actually kind of having just a slowly kind of scrolling where you could just kind of, sometimes it can feel a bit kind of, a bit flat.
Yeah.
But you're doing it, right?
Yeah. Everyone has to start somewhere.
It's like a muscle, right?
Yeah.
You've got to work it, right?
Coming back to the
and
strongest man vibes.
Exactly. And that's the way I've always described it. It's like a muscle. You've got to train it.
Yeah.
And eventually you'll get more confident that it can do that thing over and over and over again. Yeah. Or it's just a mind thing. It's like when I don't do as many as I used to, but I do some little pieces to camera just on my phone, just talking about something. I don't care now if I fuck up.
No.
If I trip over my words.
I was saying exactly the same thing the other week, Tim.
I stick it out there. So me and Nitin, right? Right. We were doing this. We were at Wreckfest a couple of weeks ago, and we were giving a workshop on podcasting.
Yeah.
For these kind of this tent of TA people.
Did you get a lot of turn up to that? Because when he told us about that, I was like, I can see that being quite a popular topic.
It was pretty popular. I think we didn't get like hundreds, but we probably got kind of 40 or so people at the tent at the time.
That's a decent number.
And
It's
we had
massive,
we had some really good feedback saying it was actually one of the better things that they'd seen at Wreckfest.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So much so that we're probably going to do more of it. I think we're going to do something similar at maybe other events.
I can see it being popular because I think
I got quite a kind of like I had some notes just to give me some kind of like a running order, and partly way through I just went, oh, I've just completely lost my trail of thought, right? And I literally said that out loud. I've completely lost my trail of thought, and handed the mic back to Nitin. Some guy was Pete's hand was kind of like about 5 minutes later and says, I can ask a question. He goes, yeah. He goes, I just want to say well done to James for just kind of carrying on because it makes it very much authentic. It's very transparent. It's kind of like exactly what you would expect. And they started giving me a round of applause for fucking up. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to take that as a good thing or a bad thing.
They had low expectations of you that they were like,
exactly. Well done, James. You got through it. But yeah, so those kinds of things, right?
Yeah,
you know, that could cripple some people. But you know what? I just kind of like, you know what, I've lost my trail of thought.
Yeah.
And fortunately, I had Nitin next to me and I just passed the mic.
Right, yeah.
But otherwise, I would have just gone, what did I cover? I'll have talked to the person in the front row. I was like, did I talk about this yet? Yeah. And I've gone, yes or no. I was like, okay, let's talk about this. And gone on.
Yeah, you just have a quick reset.
No one, actually, you know what? No one cares in the end. No one really cares.
No. And like you say, it becomes more relatable, it becomes more authentic, and people, no one's perfect.
And I don't expect you to be, and you shouldn't be, right?
Yeah.
We're not flipping... You know, we're not Steven Spielberg movies where we're creating here, right? Yeah. These are just little bits that, again, in all honesty, are going to go up, be seen for a day, and then probably not seen again.
And forgotten.
Right. Unless it's on LinkedIn at the minute where you keep seeing stuff from 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Right?
Right?
You know. So, yeah, I think it's all up here a lot of the time.
Amazing. Mate, I'm going to have to call it.
Oh, it's been a pleasure.
Do you know what? I've really enjoyed it. Hour and 20.
Wow.
Hour and 20 minutes.
I don't envy you having to kind of edit all of that.
But thank you so much for coming.
Oh, no,
it's been an absolute, genuine pleasure. It's another one of those where I didn't know what to expect coming into today, and it's just like Bobby was the same. You know, didn't really know much about him, and it's been great to get to know you, mate. And I hope you enjoy your. You can keep us posted on your PBs.
I'm going to take a photo of that as soon as I get home. I'm going to load it up with my actual PBs.
Yeah, nice.
We'll go up on
Tag us in it.
Yeah, of course. And, it's been a pleasure, lads. It's been really, really good. Cheers. Thank you. My hands are a little sweaty.
Yeah,
it's pretty warm in here, right?
It is very warm. I'll give you a hug because my hands are sweaty. Thank you. What are you up to now?
I'm heading back. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I didn't want to rush you out, so I can go out and do something if you want.
No. You got something.
Yeah, you're really busy, and my first one was. Do you want a water?